Meet Dave of Delusions of Grandeur, actor, producer, and director of films like Tales of the Forgotten. He has come to assemble a team of freaks, geeks, and even worse, film nerds, to discuss films ranging from mainstream to downright crazy. There is Tammy car enthusiast and Dave's fiance, Dustin reptile expert and overall horror collector, Jake environmentalist and fine art film critic, and finally Brandon, a therapist with a love of film that can only be seen as insanity. Together under Dave's leadership, they are Inside Movies Galore. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show.
To heal. Alrighty, hello ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Inside Movies Galore. I am one of your hosts. But today we are continuing with our birthday fetishes, or should I say film choices. Where it is now Brandon's turn to share and tell. So, Brandon, why don't you tell us what two small features that you decided to subject us to this week?
Well, the main one is definitely a tad of a dark piece. So I said, you know what? It's probably good to have something light in front of it. So we're starting off with Ernie Fosselius's film Hardware Wars. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss $3 goodbye.
Indeed.
This is also one of the first, probably the first, Star Wars parody films, coming out in 1978. Not long after the release of the first film.
Yeah.
So, being that as it is, I'm just going to go down the list here, and we'll start with you, Jake. Was this your first time watching Hardware Wars?
It was not. I'm almost sure you showed it to us one late night. I could be wrong about that, but that seems right. And I have actually watched it twice for this, just because it is so short and you can. I figured, what the hell. So I went ahead and did a second viewing. And it's interesting. It's fun. It's not a truly earth-shattering film, but it certainly is enjoyable and a bit of fun. And I have to admit the timing of it is interesting, considering that the Star Wars parody I grew up on, Spaceballs, director Mel Brooks just celebrated his 100th birthday yesterday, apparently. So this is good timing to hit the Star Wars parodies, I guess.
I am almost certain that he has seen this film.
It seems likely. But yeah, it's good times. And yes, it was a decent palate cleanser uh, for given the other one. But yeah.
All right. Well, Dave, was this your first exposure to Hardware Wars?
This was. I wasn't sure what to think, but then you also know about oversexed rug suckers from Mars, so yeah, this was definitely up my alley. Of course, I didn't exactly have a ham salad while I was watching it, but it was something. It was definitely weird, and Tammy and I were definitely looking at each other strangely while we were watching this because we were like raising our eyebrows at certain things, and it was definitely straight ripping a dialogue from Star Wars.
And Diego was having fun watching it too.
Yeah, he was actually straight up watching it.
Oh, quick note: the director was the sound effects editor on Spaceballs, so there is a direct connection. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's funny. I was looking up a name of a character so I'd remember it, and it's got Artie Deco as a picture of him with a top hat on.
Well, Spaceballs happened much years later, so maybe Mel Brooks did see this at one point in time. Was like, okay, I need him to edit my film.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm sure that he had seen it because this would probably be right up his alley when it came to humor. So,
of course, the guy playing who was supposedly supposed to be Luke was definitely not a Luke.
I would dispute that. I would.
But a ham salad, I thought he did okay. And the Wookiee monster, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Chinchilla, the Wookiee.
That was just Cookie Monster, except painted red.
Right.
All right. Well, Tammy, was this your first time seeing Hardware Wars?
Yes, it was funny. I don't even know if I was laughing totally at that or if I was laughing at, Diego's my cat, He seemed totally engrossed in it too. It was like, I don't know what was funnier, watching that or watching him like totally engrossed in the thing. Because he was laying there just staring straight at it. And I was like, I'm telling David, I said, Diego's watching this. But it was funny, yes. The names that they came up with and everything. And yes, that definitely looked like Cookie Monster, only a different shade.
He was infrared.
Yes. And of course, the
straight up Tin Man costume.
Yes.
Right.
And what was it? The toaster was actually firing pieces of bread. So yeah, it was funny. It was I found it quite amusing.
A driller was their gun.
Yeah, and they show a little bit of that on the cover there. There's a couple of posters I could have picked for this, but and though I could only really
flashlights were the flashlights were the lightsabers.
Yeah,
not just any flashlight. I think they were mag lights.
The sad thing is, I really wish I could have done a combined poster for, the YouTube ad for this, but it was hard to get with the free version, it's harder to get something to display, so I just had to go with the full length movie. But this is, I think, that little extra bonus that you get from signing in for the Atomic Cafe discussion. Well, with that being said, Hardware Wars is actually something I've been familiar with for a while. One thing after I kind of run out of some of the staple films that my father had for that as a kind of a tribute for him, I've been trying to think about what to do with my birthday picks, or what I theme as. I think on the pick that I have for my birthday, I'm just going to start throwing out stuff that actually meant something to me in my development as a whole, which is why these are both showing up. Hardware Wars, oddly enough, I did not see the full Hardware Wars until later. I actually saw it. I saw pieces of it growing up, like clips on Muppet Babies. There were some things on MTV. They would show clips from it. And I was always so curious about this thing. And then one day I came across the DVD of it, which I no longer have that, but I don't even know where it went. Did I give
It went to me. Yes, it went to me.
Oh, it went to you, Dave. Okay. So most people have that then. But yeah, I saw it and I was like, wow, this is much shorter than I thought it would be. And but I was very happy with what I saw and very entertained with it. And the only disappointment from it was that it wasn't a full-length feature. But I like weird stuff, and that thing really hit me. So from an early age, when I think I first was exposed to it when I was in my, like 6, 7, 8, that time period, to now, I still have a place in my heart for this little short. And I also feel like it's really got some historic relevance, because as far as parodies go, this was one of the first major parodies that you had seen like that. Later on, of course, we see parodies like this well, maybe not exactly like this, but we see parodies all the time of big films and things like that. So this was kind of new to its metal. So we start this, of course, where it kind of plays like an extended trailer, where it gives you kind of a preview of the story to come.
It really is an extended trailer.
Really quick, did you see any of the other films this was released with? Because apparently there were like several shorts. And Fosselius himself directed one called Pork Lips Now. There's also Closet Cases of the Nerd Kind, and I think Bambi Meets Godzilla they were apparently all released together originally.
Wow, that would have been fun to have as a full pack.
Right.
I did watch the foreign release of this, where they made fun of the Turkish releases of the Star Wars films. It's on the MVD disc.
Right.
But yeah, this one, of course, stars Fluke Starbucker, which I kind of agree with Jacob. This is a very good parody of the character Luke from the first film. Well, the people who did this hadn't seen the other two films because they hadn't come out yet.
He is an aw shucks farm boy, way in over his head. He does the like when he gets the lightsaber, like he's a wowee, gee willikers.
They kind of make fun of, and this is. And keep in mind, when we're looking at references, this is only referencing A New Hope. There was nothing else to reference
right.
at the time. I don't even think the holiday special was out yet. When was the holiday special?
This
Star
was the same
Wars.
year, wasn't it?
1978.
But this may have come out before.
Yeah, it probably came out before because the holiday special came out in December of that
Right.
year. So, yeah. So, yeah, that would have. This is probably the only thing that most people had seen that was Star Wars, past Star Wars.
Right.
Wait, what? I know that there was that animation in that older rotary. Trying to remember what the damn name of it is. Tammy knows it.
Well, there was an animation in the holiday special.
Yeah. It was like the debut of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Well, there was that, but then there was something. Heavy Metal.
Oh, well, Heavy Metal was.
It was 81.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
later, and it was its own thing in a lot of ways. It had some Star Wars feel to it, but it definitely was its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I always look at Heavy Metal as sort of that MTV zeitgeist.
Oh,
I
my
think the same
dad,
year.
my dad's the one that turned me on to that one, the Heavy Metal. So,
So essentially, you've got Fluke, and of course, they start with the whole thing with 4Q2 and Artie Deco.
Yeah.
Which you got 42Q is supposed to be the C-3PO, but he's dressed as the Tin Man with these painted on shades.
Mhm.
And you've got Artie Deco, which is, a standard vacuum cleaner for 1978,
Mhm.
as they escape the ship.
And Artie Deco is very loquacious, but still all bleeps and blurs, and he's cursing up a storm.
I still enjoy the fact that the first thing I came up with is a show on is a picture from X that has Artie Deco with the top hat on. But of course, then they crash land on the Tatooine, the desert, where you've got beachcombers setting up in the background. Which I'm pretty sure was purposeful.
Yeah.
They discover the message from Princess Android. Which you could just I love how she delivers her lines like she couldn't care less.
Yeah.
So she's on there.
Yeah, the acting in this overall is pretty lax, but she seems to be one of the. I don't know if it's intentional, but she is probably the most wooden delivery of the bunch.
Either wooden or overacted, and I think that the overacted definitely is the it's on purpose.
Hers is underacted.
No acting.
Fluke was over.
Not acting.
And of course,
That's
with
what
her,
they're
she has like two large rolls on the side of her face instead,
Right.
which was
it
making
looks
fun
like
of the
cinnamon
hairstyle.
Right.
rolls.
You even
And at
have
one point, the Wookiee monster is looking at them like he wants to eat them.
yes,
He does. He starts trying to chow on it.
Of course, she's saying that she needs to get Augie Bendagi, so he goes and gets Augie Bendagi, who is the Obi-Wan
Right.
guy there, and he gives him his father's lightsaber, which is just a big mag light that they throw some fog effect in there to make it look like it's a lightsaber. So what do y'all think? You got most of our main characters. What do y'all think of the main characters so far? Are they pulling it off?
Yeah.
Uh,
I was kind of amused by the guy that plays Augie Bendagi. Incidentally, known for Heavy Metal. Apparently, he was in that. Yeah.
He's not the droid you're looking for.
Yeah. Right.
I do like it when he says that that, and then introduce and then when they go into the what's supposed to be the Star Wars cantina.
So, Tammy, you're the car expert here. Was that a dune buggy that they got into? I think it's a dune buggy.
Yeah.
I think that's a great. I think that's a great great substitute for speakers. And instead of stormtroopers, they have Imperial steam troopers, which I'm guessing are steamers, but I'm not.
Which those almost look like the droids that you see in the in Attack of the Clone Wars, the second movie. You know, except you only see it from waist up.
Even less useful. They don't even have feet or arms. They're just standing there.
What do you bet, though, that they can fire a laser better than stormtroopers can?
I noticed that what they did with the laser effects, and we'll talk more about that with others, they were using like little film scratches, which is an interesting technique for lasers. But yeah, as Dave said, the bar, which is interesting. So I have to wonder how awkward that was for the guy dressed up with ham salad sitting at the stall in the crowded bar with the puppet. Because if I remember correctly, I listened to one of these things a long time ago, is that they just basically went in there and just ran a camera through an active bar and had them sitting at the.
Yeah.
It's like, that must have been a very awkward moment. It's no wonder that all,
especially if they were doing guerrilla filmmaking, you know, where nobody really knew that they were taping something for a feature, a small short film.
I am sure that there are people who are in that bar who probably still have no idea that they were filmed for this.
Yeah.
Well, the people who were filmed in that bar were weird enough for the film.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is interesting.
People dressed weirdly in the 70s, so it worked.
It's a great time capsule because, I mean, 1978 bar, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Might even have been a little bit earlier because of when they filmed it. But, and one of the few original songs in this, which we'll get to. There's not much of original music. But you get to meet Ham Salad and Chunchilla, the Wookiee monster.
Mm-hmm.
Wookiee? You mean...
I don't know what it is about that particular model of the Chewbacca clone mixed with the Cookie Monster, but it brought me to laughter when I saw that originally.
Oh, I was amused by that, definitely.
Especially when it was trying to eat Princess Android's hair.
Yeah. It's more like the Cookie Monsters to the Wookiee Monster, you know?
And so I really... the characters so far really did come out as good parodies of the characters they are parodying. I mean, you've got basically Fluke as the kind of clueless farm boy, and that was essentially how Luke was played in the first movie.
Right.
Maybe even acted a bit better in some places.
He's less whiny, but more just aw shucks, you know?
I mean, Augie Ben Doggy is done pretty well, except he's done much more nonchalant.
He's done, like, from what I have read and heard about Alec Guinness's actual feelings about the franchise, he's kind of playing it like, oh, well, I guess I'll get paid for this, so sure. But
And of course, ham salads played dead on.
yeah, I didn't like him as much. He doesn't say a whole lot, but
No.
he does say, "I've got a bad feeling about this."
I did like when he was saying, "Excuse me."
Yeah,
He's arguing with the princess. But we get to have introductions to Darth Nader.
yeah.
Uh,
And nobody can understand.
Darth Nader, naughty person.
Yes.
As he's wearing a black welder's.
Right.
I can't understand you. And he blows up Planet Basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But they even do the line, and when they say, it's like, are you feeling like that whole like line when the planet exploded? And Augie Dog is like, no, I've just got a headache.
Right.
As they get drawn into the waffle iron, i.e., space station.
Incidentally, I meant to mention before we started, I am in quite a bit of head pain tonight. So I did my best, but I meant to mention that earlier.
Well, thank you for showing up.
Yeah. But yeah, I did like they did that sort of like, is there a great disturbance in the forest for millions of lives crying out in pain before, no, I just have a headache.
Yeah. And they do a pretty good job of what they did on the Death Star. I mean, with Fluke and Ham Salad rescuing the princess, and the princess and Ham Salad arguing.
Yeah, I like how he is stubbornly pressing forward, doing the opposite of what she wants until he almost gets shot. Okay.
And of course, Augie Bendoggy disabling the tractor beam. I don't know what it is about that, but when he goes there and you got the picture of the dude on the tractor waving at it.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny.
But we do have the climactic showdown between Augie Bendoggy and Darth Nader. And I really do believe that the kind of lame little sword fight they have is making fun of how basic the sword fight was in the original.
Right. And then, of course, everyone basically mocks him for being a martyr.
It's like, no, you go on without me. Oh, what a martyr. Yeah, you martyr, you. And, of course, it then goes into the whole briefing and then destruction of the Death Star. But, of course, you see the as it goes back into trailer mode, essentially. Though the briefing is interesting. It has that one particular naked picture in it.
Yes. I love how that's just randomly inserted. But also you have this guy doing like uber geek speak, with the typical high-pitched scientist nerd voice. And then at the end, Luke's like, what? Yeah, unplug it.
Yeah, pull the plug.
Right.
But of course they blow it up, and then they says hardware wars. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss $3 goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Not $3 anymore.
Not even at the bird.
But I and then of course the great line, "May the Force be with you."
Mm-hmm.
But what do y'all think of that as a whole? Hardware Wars.
It's good times.
It's only 13 minutes.
I think it was really funny. I think it would have been kind of fun as a whole movie, like Spaceballs, So I think it would have been kind of fun.
There is one issue with it structurally, is that they present it as a trailer. The 13 minutes is a long freaking trailer. And second, they give away so many plot points. It's like, it really is a trailer, it fails.
Yeah.
But as an abridged, like you and I did the 15-minute Hamlet. This is like
Yes.
the 15-minute Hamlet version.
I would call this a Swede. I came across someone who was a director who actually does short versions of stories, and he called them Swedes.
Okay.
Interesting.
And this would be what I would consider a Swede, because it is a shortened version of a movie, but it's not quite a short film per se. Yes, it's an extended trailer, but I would put this in the same mind frame of, that type of thing.
I wonder if they had this. I wonder if they had this in mind in Spaceballs, where you have that line, the short version.
Well, let's talk about production. Now, on the surface, this looks cheap as heck. But the more I think about it, and the more I think about what they probably had to go through to put this together like it was, with the technology of the time, this took a lot of freaking work.
Well, and actually, IMDb claims that it was made on a budget of $8,000, which is quite a bit for a short film, especially in the 70s. But apparently it grossed over $1 million and is considered the most profitable short of all time.
Bull.
I
call bull.
You do?
That's a farce.
Yeah.
But there are some hard techniques that you see. I mean, you see the film scratching for the laser blast, which works really well.
Yeah.
Of course, you see the various appliances on sticks, but a lot of the sets and stuff like that are put together pretty well.
Yeah.
All things considered, except for the bar. The bar was,
Brandon, do you think that this short film actually made like $1 million?
Probably not, but but do I think that it could have cost $8,000 to put together? Yeah, possibly.
Maybe.
I mean, there were a lot of places that they had to go. There were a lot of set designs, costumes, different things like that. I would actually consider this particular one probably beyond my ability as a filmmaker to have made. Now,
beyond my ability, better put it down.
I'd actually consider it higher. I'd say that the production value was higher than some of the stuff like the Polonia films and the stuff that I've seen. But what do y'all think about production?
I thought the production was pretty decent. I mean, yes, it was definitely low budget. I mean, the fact that they used houseware appliances and tools of the tool man for guns and whatnot, and the fact that they actually had to use their imagination in order to create their own little version of, Star Wars universe for this concept. I mean, on a smaller budget, on a smaller scale, and yet be able to have a bit of humor to go along with it, I'm not sure they should have like straight up ripped as many lines as they did from the original Star Wars just to parody it. They could have done it their own way. Maybe but it was enjoyable. I mean, for what it was, and you know what? I bet you Star Wars if fans enjoy the shit out of this if they knew about it.
Right.
I'm not
Supposedly George Lucas appreciated it. Said he enjoyed it. You know? So
Let's see here. So, soundtrack's pretty easy. I mean, it's mostly Ride of the Valkyries. I mean, there was like that one song they were playing in the bar, but it wasn't really much of one.
right.
So, but I thought it worked out well as it was. But for the first actual Star Wars parody film, it's still pretty fun. So let's see here. According to this, it was actually premiering during the time that Star Wars was still in theaters, apparently. And became a word of mouth phenomenon. People basically sharing reels and stuff of this stuff. So it's interesting that this is actually one of the first ones, because you also had like the Family Guy one, which was not as good really. I'm trying to see if there was anything notable about in 2003, the film was honored by Lucasfilms when it was given a Pioneer Award at the year's official Star Wars Fan Film Awards. But I will leave it at that because we got a long ways to go.
Yes, we do.
Is there any last words you want to go there before we go to slightly darker pastures?
May the farce be with you.
Well, there's
I
quite a
just
bit
wanna
of
say it was a
farcical
lot of-
dealings.
I just want to say it was a lot of fun, and I think it would have been kind of fun if it would have been like a full length like Spaceballs, So
Would have been interesting,
Yeah.
to be sure. Well,
Who's
now
to say Spaceballs isn't what they intended something like this to be? Especially since you already said somebody the director is actually involved with Spaceballs.
Right.
So who's to say that isn't exactly what he went on and did?
Well, now I guess it's time for our feature presentation,
Yeah.
The Atomic Cafe. So the Atomic Cafe is
It's a musical.
It is, isn't that? It's a 1982 documentary directed by Jane Loder, Kevin Rafferty, and Pierce Rafferty. So this is essentially a string of propaganda films as well as newsreels depicting the birth and acceptance of the atomic bomb.
Okay, the only thing I learned in this film before we even head even further is how much we threatened atomic bombs in the Korean War.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that we threatened to use atomic bombs.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, the H bomb.
Yeah. MacArthur was famous for after he basically caused that failed offensive where China basically pushed them back to the 38th parallel and a little bit further back from that. He is famous for saying that they should nuke all the big cities in North Korea and China. He wanted like 8 or 9 atomic bombs going off at once. I mean, good Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the way this film presents everybody at the time, you know, it seemed like they were videotaping all the good old boys.
Well,
Let's ride the high rocket. Let's video. You know,
it is a film of its time. Well, I mean, not this one, but the actual films that they were showing. Well, why don't we get first impressions of it? Actually, well, Dave, since you were talking about, was this your first time watching the Atomic Cafe?
this is my first time watching the Atomic Cafe, and there were a couple of things that I found interesting about it. Like I didn't realize how many songs were devoted to the subject of the atomic bomb.
Yeah, Fallout definitely missed out. Only one of those songs was used in the Fallout games.
Well, they need to take some references from this for the 3rd season or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
At least as far as music it goes, because there was some rockabilly that almost sounded like it could have been cool, but not that I want to get up on that rocket like these good old boys were all like saying, oh. Like that one guy who was all excited about how magnificent the light of the atomic thing shot into the heavens, and it was awesome to see. I was like, dude, do you realize how much power is going off?
Huh? Apparently, this has been cited as a documentary that is a major foundation for the original Fallout games. So,
I was going to say, when Dave brought it up, the mascot, the Fallout boy, looks like he's ripped from these films.
Yes.
He looks straight out of these films.
Apparently that's cited by this film is actually cited by the creators of Fallout quite a few times.
Really?
So interesting thought. Any other first impressions, Dave?
I thought that I had actually heard about that Japanese fishing boat incident, like during the was it the H-bomb incidents or the
Bikini Atoll stuff.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things that I almost got creeped out about was the fact that they tested on the island of Bikini, and the natives were okay with that.
Well,
the fuck.
Well, we'll talk more about that as we go. Because they actually for a documentary, it does move along a timeline, which I am pretty impressive on that.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't just do a slapshod, here's a bunch of propaganda films together. It actually moved it in a particular order, which I was impressed by that.
No, but it did capture a lot of the
Well, yeah.
kind of people.
Yeah.
It's America.
America.
This is America.
I mean, they even mentioned Dr. Strangelove in this, which is very true. In a lot.
We have not covered that movie.
Yep.
We need to. Definitely.
Maybe when they release that Kubrick set and we manage to get a hold of that.
I was planning to convert Dr. Strangelove this month, but now that they've announced that set, I'm going to have to get it.
I'm holding off on any further conversions of Kubrick for now because of that set.
I don't even want it.
Dane, I'm sure would. I mean, if he still collects it all, he'll probably for that.
Not even sure. I tried to message him and he didn't message back. So,
Well, I guess we'll move on then to Tammy. Was this your first experience with the Atomic Cafe?
Yes.
Well,
Let's see. I
she doesn't get into war things.
I don't get into war things.
You of all of us probably would have had more of an experience with this in schools and so on, especially duck and cover.
I don't. Maybe right at the beginning of school year, schooling, but not after that. But I don't know. I've never gotten into stuff about war, so I mean, I guess I found some of the stuff interesting, but for the most part, it's just, it's like, why? Why does everybody gotta, let's make a bomb even better. Okay, let's make a bomb even better than that. Let's make one even better than that. Let's see how many damn people
there was
we
an
can kill at
age
once.
for everything. Thing. There was a race to make the better.
I get it. But it's like, every bomb, it causes more destruction and kills more people, and then the next one does the same, and the next one does the same. It's like, what do you want to do? Wipe out half the damn planet at once?
Well, there was a Dr. Strangelove. One of the jokes that they make is, "Oh, they've got a doomsday machine. We need to make one of those." Doomsday race.
Well, and one of the things at the time that seemed to surprise everyone is that the Russians started making their own shit.
Yeah, every time we made something, they made something.
And they were talking about spies and shit. In fact, they put a cup the Rosen. Bomb, whatever.
That's the Cold War.
Yeah.
But you're goddamn right. We gave the Russians the idea to build their own shit.
So I guess I could say I found some of it interesting, but for the most part, I'm not thrilled to watch it because, like I said, I don't like war stuff. And
we shouldn't be thrilled to watch it.
No.
So
the right response emotionally should be revulsion and anger, and maybe a little bit of dark humor if you're in that level, but mostly revulsion and anger.
Disappointed, disgusted, yes.
So see, it's hitting the right emotions for you.
Like I said, some of the stuff was kind of interesting to find out, but that was about it.
Well, what about you, Jake? Was this your first time watching the Atomic Cafe?
Yes, it was. It was my first time. Now, I've heard about this. I know you've mentioned it repeatedly. I have heard about it, I think, in other venues as well, but definitely it's not one I had gotten around to. I wasn't entirely sure what I was signing up for. And in particular, I was under the impression that this was supposed to be a darkly humorous movie. And yes, there is some humor if one wants to take a very cynical view at, oh, look at those stupid humans and those stupid things that they do. But mostly, and maybe it's my headspace when I watched it, mostly I was pissed off. The whole I was pissed. And I knew a lot of this had happened. Like Dave mentioned, there were things that I was not aware of. And we'll probably mention a few of them as we go. most of the ones I was not at all aware of fell into that category of, my God.
Yeah.
It's people are just so stupid. And I believe, Tammy, you were just talking about like or the whole why, yeah, when it comes to, I've always said this about the atomic bomb. Why?
So
Why? It's so stupid. Everything about it is so stupid. But as far as the movie itself, I do think it is very well made. It's very well put together. It does a really good job of itself functioning as a bit of a propaganda film. And to be honest, I think this should probably be required viewing in schools. It is a very informative and well made film. Is it enjoyable? No. Did I find it funny? Very, very little of it. But I am glad I saw it.
there are certain things that I found funny, and I'm also very cynical about humanity.
Well,
So,
I'm getting there, but even so.
But I mean, there were certain little scenes like when they were showing like, well, it's just like an accident, and they showed that dude in the shower slipping on the soap.
Oh, that was funny. That was funny. That had to be the most obviously staged shower slip ever filmed.
Because I was watching it with Kim, and even she laughed at that. So yeah, that was there.
How pissed was Kim getting? How pissed was Kim getting?
Oh, she wasn't that. She was just kind of. We were in bed, and she was kind of half asleep through half of it, but it's understandable. It's a. It shows a darker. It shows a lot of humanity's dark side.
Yeah.
And this is actually a special one for me. Oddly enough, Jake, it's a. I did watch this in school. Presented by my ninth grade history teacher, who oddly enough is a mixed bag. He was politically a conservative, but being politically a conservative in the early 90s is very different than being a conservative today.
Right.
I'm not sure a conservative today would show their class the Atomic Cafe. They would probably consider it unpatriotic. But
well, maybe a true conservative.
He introduced us to a lot of things. Like he introduced me to Blackadder and Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So a lot of interesting stuff. But
those are fun.
I always believed this was one of the better documentaries on the atomic age because it covered a lot of things that showed what he had said. It's all about perception. The idea that, you can declare anything, but it's a matter of what people's perception is. He declared himself emperor of the world. And he said, I can declare that if I want to, but I won't really be emperor of the world unless everybody acknowledges it.
Yeah.
So therefore, he made us all acknowledge him as emperor of the world. So with that, this is why I picked this, is because it does have a special place in my memory. I mean, I watched this in ninth grade. So this was way back in 93, maybe. Summer of 93, spring of 93, something like that, because it was towards the end of the school year. And it was shocking to me. I mean, I was, as a teenager, I didn't know any of this stuff. I mean, because we're not just talking teenager, we're talking ninth grade, so early teenager. So there was a lot of stuff that it opened my eyes to and kind of started me along the track of being a lot more cynical about humanity, but a lot more also, what's the word, skeptical about the things that I'm being told
Right.
in the propaganda machine, because that I think is the most important message. This is that the propaganda machine is alive and well, and it is alive and well today as well, doing the exact same things it was back then. But it's even
Maybe not exactly the same, but
yeah, well, back then, of course, keep in mind that the general consensus was that you could trust your government.
right.
Well, we violated our government violated that a lot. So,
Oh yeah. Well,
now trust in the government's kind of low.
One thing that did give me some dark humor that may or may not have been intentional on the part of the filmmakers is that a certain lawmaker who later would become a certain infamous president is heavily featured in this.
Yes. I remember when I saw that, I was like, is that Nixon?
Yeah. Yeah, he's in several sequences, if I recall correctly.
We talk about Nixon.
Yeah.
And, well, I'll go ahead and get us started here. We kind of start off with the bomb on Hiroshima, and the cool thing about this is they had full interviews with the person who bombed Hiroshima, and then we had the one with the person who did Nagasaki, which are very two different takes on personalities. Yes. The one for Nagasaki sounded like the dude who was basically riding the bomb all the way down. Slim Pickens.
Yeah.
He came across like that, but the guy who was doing this, he was talking about, like, none of us knew what we were doing or what our mission was until we were up in the air flying.
Right.
That's how secretive it was.
Well, real quick side note, I don't believe this was mentioned in the movie, and I would consider it an unfortunate oversight of sorts. They did talk about the Enola Gay, yes. but the parts the parts were delivered via ship, and one thing that I think I read probably around the 9th grade, like I did not see this movie until much later, although I had heard a little bit about, like I've heard about the whole duck and cover thing since I was a kid because my parents grew up with that. But there was a really good book that I read around that time that my dad had in his collection called Fatal Voyage, The Sinking of the USS Indianapolis. And of course, I probably mentioned it when we covered Jaws because Quint gives the whole speech about the Indianapolis. But that ship, because they delivered the bomb, was so secretive that when that ship went down, a lot more people died than needed to because no one knew where the hell they were. You know? So that they didn't even mention the Indianapolis in this movie as far as I can recall. So that was a minor oversight, but I wanted to throw that out there as just to illustrate again, like you said, the super secrecy.
And really the interview with the pilot of that. And you know what's weird is that we always talk about Hiroshima, but we never talk about Nagasaki. I've always noticed that. Nobody talks about Nagasaki. Even here, it was kind of an afterthought.
Yeah.
And it was more of a contrast of the pilots.
And weren't there 3?
What? Well, there were more. There were 2 that were.
Truman's speech saying, maybe 4 or 5 cities need to go before. I was like, Jesus.
And actually, that's
until the threat of Japan trying to rise to I forget exactly what the right words were, but rise to power again to try to destroy us, basically.
And this brings to mind another recent film, another great cinematic moment in Oppenheimer. Gary Oldman has a very brief cameo as Truman, where he basically dresses down Oppenheimer tells him, you know what, it's out of your hands now. This is the way of the world, basically. And he does not come off good in that. Oldman gives a great performance, but Truman does not come off good in that scene. But and this movie kind of what's that?
The more that I learned about Truman, the more negative my opinion of the man is.
Yeah. So I did want to mention, though, what you just mentioned, Dave, was one thing that was new to me. I didn't realize that Truman was openly talking about additional bombings, and that apparently when Japan surrendered, the movie makes the impression that we were not expecting that. We were expecting multiple additional bombings, and it almost sounds like they were disappointed by how quickly Japan surrendered.
Well, a lot of Japan actually didn't expect that they were going to surrender either. They were surprised by it. The Emperor Hirohito actually overruled a lot of his people to do that, and he put himself. He really did put himself at a level that would never have happened normally under the emperors of Japan. To do that.
The other thing I wanted to mention that I had never heard this before, and it was one of the early parts in the film where I'm like, my God, people are sick, twisted fucks, was the idea of they said in the film that Hiroshima and Nagasaki were military targets.
Yeah.
But they were chosen because they had not yet been attacked.
Well, they kept attacking them for those reasons.
I had known that they had not been attacked. I've seen In This Corner of the World. I know that they were thinking that the war was going to pass them by, or at least a lot of them were. Like war was something that was happening elsewhere. But they pointed out something in the movie that was disturbing and disgusting and absolutely tracks for science, which was that they picked virgin targets so that they could study the effect of the bomb from scratch.
I mean, not only that, but the U.S. military actually left those targets to be pristine for that purpose.
Right. That's messed up on every level.
It is. And if you watch one of the other ones that we talked about, it was an anime anticlimax right here that we talked about. God, what was that one?
Brave.
Barefoot Again?
The anime about the child.
Barefoot Again, wasn't it?
Barefoot Again, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you get to see what happened first.
We haven't done In This Corner of the World yet on the channel, right?
I don't think we have, no.
We should get that one eventually. That's also a really, really good one.
But, I mean, and another thing that people should look at, if you want to look at this, is Oliver Stone did a documentary series on Netflix, which is quite disturbing because it really flies in the face of what you really knew. And you almost had to be alive in the time to know some of the stuff that was going on. And a lot of the purpose of it was actually the purpose of the atomic bomb was less for the fact that we were trying to win the war, that we didn't feel like we'd win the war without it, but more because we were trying to keep the Russians from stepping foot on Japan soil, because we wanted to basically take ownership of Japan when this was over. We didn't want the Russians to do that.
Right.
That's a sad. I mean, the story I'd always been told was, of course, we did it because Japan wasn't going to surrender and we have lost tons of American lives. But in reality, that was not the case. And Truman knew that.
Well, we came close because, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm remembering correctly, Midway Island and Guam and the Philippines were all American acquisitions in the wake of this war.
Yep.
In America's defense.
Well, the Philippines were acquired by Japan and then came back. So
Yeah.
that was their imperial target.
They were hoping we would liberate them, and
well, we sort of did, but not really.
In America's defense, Japan hit us first with Pearl Harbor.
Oh no, Japan was not a good actor in this at all.
Oh,
Nope.
Don't mistake me talking about reality with saying that Japan was a good guy in this war. No,
But we were unfortunately using Hitler tactics with the Japanese Americans that were living here in the U.S. at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And we did our own atrocities.
Yep.
Yeah.
My wife picked up that comic that George Takei did.
That
which
one.
I need to read. But yeah, the whole thing was interesting.
What is it? They called us enemy, I think is what that's called. Yeah.
But of course, when the bombs went off, I did find the interview with the pilot interesting because they didn't know what they had, to the point where they were surprised by the shockwave hitting, and they actually stalled before leaving because they were taking pictures, and someone like, what the heck? What did we do?
Yeah.
The fact that even the people who bombed it didn't actually know what was going on with it. That is... I mean, the one who did Nagasaki knew exactly what they were doing, and they seemed to be like, yeah.
Well, yes and no. Like, because as the movie goes on, we see more and more of these military films where what we know now, honestly, would think you would have known even then. But what we know now is that some of the stuff they were telling people was straight up bullshit.
I mean, the military was indoctrinated, so
they knew it was bullshit. Yeah, but we'll get to some of that as we get to it.
And then we of course we get to the end of the war, and everybody happy about that.
Yeah. And
those talking about the atomic age, and it's interesting, a lot of the culture around the atomic age as they do, and they show this throughout the film, like the actual atomic cafe that they show later on, and drinks like the the bomb or whatnot, and
atomic cocktail, I think it was.
Yeah, I mean, there's like an atomic fever that kind of hit the United States from the late 40s through early 50s, and you had that going on at the same time with them showing some of the stuff that we have seen a lot before, which is the effects of the bomb and the radiation in Nagasaki and all of that stuff. And it's definitely crazy to see that. And I want to say that they go from that into... really, it's the Cold War, which is where most of the film dwells. And, of course, the Russians getting the bomb themselves, I want to say 1953. And the paranoia that it spawned with the McCarthy hearings and the whole anti-communist thing. You see a lot of anti-communist films. Because it was at that point that the real fear of the atomic age was upon us. And, of course, then... there was that stuff that Dave was talking about, the Korean War, where MacArthur was really eager to use them. And, of course, public opinion was, yeah, we could just bomb them. And
Yeah. Well, part of it, again, came to what the public was being told. And this is where we get into some more of the really, really, really messed up stuff.
Yeah.
Like they have that PSA with the animated turtle with the whole duck and cover thing.
That monkey, the suicide monkey, apparently.
Right. But it's like, and we see this as well in some of the military training videos and propaganda videos and whatever. And then you see the people preparing for that military maneuver where they were going to put off a bomb.
Yeah.
And then people were waiting in the trenches to go rushing in right after. And they kept saying over and over again, like, oh, give it a couple of minutes, like, oh, well, the heat and the pressure are what you got to worry about, the blast and the heat. And then there's the radiation, but that doesn't really matter. You don't have to worry about that. Or, and it's like, wow. It's like either these people were absolutely blind to the science that they themselves were collecting, or they were just plain stupid, or they were clearly lying through their teeth. And whatever the case, there were a lot of people that were being put in direct threat because of that. And the only way public opinion could have been on the side of using lots more nukes would be if they believed that bullshit, which I guess they did,
Yeah.
It's like...
And that's the scary thing. I think when I watched this in high school, that was the thing that I took away the most, was that whole idea that we were going to, the idea was like, okay, because they were planning on using it as a regular weapon.
Yeah.
And, just nuke a city. And then you need to send the troops in to take out the enemies that are left.
Yeah.
They were going to wield it like a kid holding a gun.
And in a way, the Russians getting the bomb was probably a good thing because of how reckless we were at the idea of it. Weapons like that. But it disturbed me the fact that we were that willing when they knew the stuff that happened in Hiroshima. Mm-hmm. They knew all this stuff. They knew how dangerous radiation was. And still, they were going to send them right into a place that was just bombed.
Yeah.
Just to test to see what was going to happen. And
I
thought this is why we don't trust the government anymore.
Not even that, but the countless tests that they did to make sure that these bombs worked,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's...
And Dave, you referenced already Bikini. And Bikini, I didn't realize it was inhabited. That was one thing I did not know, that it was inhabited.
Yeah, it was inhabited, and they evacuated them.
They evacuated all of them, yes.
I mean, a lot of the people who were doing the Pacific Islanders, they would go, it's sort of like Moana and all that stuff. The idea that they're nomadic peoples who would go from island to island. And, I'm pretty sure that we fed them our own propaganda to get them that's great.
Well, and I believe they were told, and I believe the people generally, the movie, I can't remember exactly what they said, but something like, oh, it'll be fine after a couple of years or something. Like, they were, which of course, no, it's not. It has recovered quite a bit, but it's still not safe, no.
There was that thing where from the testing, the fallout ended up going the wrong direction of the wind and just majorly screwed up a whole bunch of the islanders there. And, of course, the radioactive tuna.
Yeah, because that fishing boat that wandered into the blast area. Yeah.
No, I admit 50 years earlier, they just said, ooh, radioactive tuna, that's healthy.
Well actually, that brings up a good point. Because they said it was like California where they were testing the tuna. This is another thing where people don't think. And we tend to apply human logic to the natural world, which is a really freaking stupid thing to do. It's one of the reasons why I am so dead set against border walls, is because animals migrate. They move. They don't stay in one place. And tuna are highly migratory. So are whales, birds. There are a lot of animals that were within that blast area of Bikini that move all over the Pacific, hundreds or thousands of miles. And they were not taking that into account. They did not think about it. You know?
Oh yeah.
No,
It's
they
like-
did not think about any of that stuff.
No.
You know,
They needed to
Paid
check
attention
tuna's
to what it did.
passports.
they paid attention to what this did to somewhat paid attention to what it did to humans, but not
Yeah.
to the animals at all. So
Mm-hmm.
And the general testing alone, I mean, the fact that they were taking the pigs down there and showing off all the tumors
Oh,
growing
yeah.
on them.
Yeah.
And it was, in general, kind of the horrible things that our government did do,
Mm-hmm.
among others. I mean, they didn't really talk as much about the Russian side of it, but the Russian side of it is still very highly guarded.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
these people manage. I mean, a lot of the military stuff that we actually get to watch in this, at the time this was released, many of those had never been seen outside of the military.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things about the Kino release is that they have all the military films used in this in their entirety on the disc as special features.
Oh really?
Well, yeah.
Nice.
So it's kind of interesting to see because we're seeing stuff that only the military was allowed to see.
Hmm.
And half of this was BS. Like, yep, just shade your eyes, cover your mouth and your nose, and you're good. You're safe from the radiation.
Mhm.
And don't forget to take a shower and burn all your clothes after you're done. Yeah.
Right. And according to IMDb, this movie took about 5 years to make, and part of it was because they went through so much stuff. So much stuff. This is Pierce Rafferty claimed that the ratio of materials viewed to materials used was about 10,000 to 1. So they did a lot of viewing apparently.
And a lot of the film, really, for the majority of the rest of it, went into a lot of the various propaganda that they were talking to the public about.
Yeah.
I like how the interviews about whether we should create the H-bomb or not. And again, the public, you can just see how the public was indoctrinated back in the time by their answers, is just crazy. Because to me, I'm thinking about H-bomb. I was like, oh my gosh, no. It's like, well, we better get it done.
Yeah.
And everybody's thoughts like, we'll just throw a bunch of them at the Russians and we'll be good. But you also get later on where you've got the military people saying, like, no, we don't have the capability of deflecting all of these nukes coming at us.
Mm-hmm.
And the regular people seem to think if we nuke them and start the war, then we wouldn't take any nukes, which
Mm-hmm.
is a scary prospect.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the whole film is a scary prospect in a lot of ways. But all of the weird hype around it. One of the things that is a poster that is the main poster that I used for the advertising this to the public is that picture of the kid on the bike wearing the radiation suit with the shredded lead in it.
Right.
that poor kid couldn't even get on the bike.
Yeah.
And, and the thing is, the duck and cover really depended on the schools. I mean, Kim had said that they were still doing duck and cover in her elementary school in Louisiana.
Mm.
The reason I was asking Tammy about it is because you would have been in elementary school in the 70s, right? Would that be right? Which would have probably been the tail end when it would have been widely used.
Mm-hmm.
I know my mother had to do it on a regular basis because nuclear drills were all over the place.
Right.
I'm reminded of all the stock footage that Weird Al had in the Christmas at Ground Zero music video. But it's just that interesting atomic fever. People building fallout shelters that would have been useless in the event of a nuclear attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw those. They were houses that were built with the shelter in it already.
Right.
I love the South Park parody with the volcano. Just duck and cover, and the lava will just flow right over you.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
And then they later have the volcano like, quick, duck and cover, and the lava goes over them. They're all like skeletons after.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, some of the, like I say, you get that couple walking down the street, duck and cover, and they just lean down by the wall, like just right in front of the wall. It's like, what? You're not even covered. Just, yeah.
That might protect you from the initial like shockwave if you were like far enough away, but it ain't protecting from the radiation.
No.
And that's one thing that Barefoot Gen, which probably is one of the more disturbing depictions of that. Actually, probably the most disturbing I have ever seen. I mean, the fact that they went and they took real life writings about what was seen and stuff that was photographed, and then they animated that. And people were just thinking that we can just duck behind a wall or under a desk and we'll be good. Like I said, the government knew this stuff was dangerous like that. It's kind of a horrible thing. But as it is, I do find it interesting how this film portrays it all. And as I said, it's interesting to also see the various like ways that the public was reacting to it. I mean, that whole like propaganda, some of the propaganda films that they fed the public were just as messed up. I mean, the one where they had the cartoon with the dudes saying like, he's got nuclear fever.
Yeah.
But don't worry, it's not that bad. Like,
Yeah, you almost come across thinking that you'd be surprised they didn't try to brand it as some sort of health regimen.
Well, like I said, 50 years earlier.
Yeah.
Everybody was taking radium.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Radium was a...
like I say, in the early 1900s, you could have sold that atomic tuna at a higher price.
Yeah, you probably could have. Yeah. Oh man, it's messed up.
Yeah,
now the public opinion did start to turn by the 60s.
yes.
Like we obviously when we get to the music, Dave was right. There was a lot of very interesting music in here. And I don't know that I've really heard much of the pro atomic music.
Well, you have now.
But I have heard even as early as the 60s, like one of Bob Dylan's famous songs, "A Hard Rains Are Gonna Fall," is about nuclear fallout pretty much. So
He
it's
was
like
growing up with all of those like 50s pro nuke songs.
Right. So, yeah.
I mean, the 50s was an interesting time in America.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes,
then,
it was.
of course, them showing the whole thing with the Rosenbergs,
Yeah.
when it's not even
And
sure
then
what
they
were.
were describing they were describing when they basically executed them, and before they even did the whole execution, describing part, they had people with signs saying "hang them."
Save the electricity.
Don't fry them because we'll smell them.
Yeah.
You know,
It's,
which I get that because if you don't do it properly, then you're going to have it cooked.
Well, and apparently they didn't do it properly with one of them.
No, she was apparently still fucking alive, and and the guy actually talking about it, you could tell he was having a hard time describing it because he was a news reporter. He was supposed to be giving this news report. Well, he was having a hard time stomaching it because I don't think they'd ever had a execution that had been done so poorly.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say that, I mean, this is a good show about how scary the effects of what propaganda can do to the human mind. But you can see that today. So
Oh yeah.
it's just as disturbing.
I'm reminded of a moment in the Green Mile when he was like,
Yes.
I forgot the sponge.
Was it it was Delacroix,
Percy
right?
Wetmore.
Yeah.
What was that?
Percy Wetmore, Delacroix.
Right.
Yes.
Delacroix was the one that he did that to, if I remember correctly.
Edward Delacroix.
Yeah. Yeah, Wetmore was a tool of the nth degree.
But
he certainly got his own in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, the anti-communist propaganda we had, and I'm not necessarily pro-communist because, I mean, it's my belief that communism is impossible to do just because you would have to have the entire world getting along, and that ain't happening. It's a pipe.
But but it also is not what it's been painted to be.
Well, yeah.
And yes, this movie fully illustrates kind of the origins of that.
And you can see that in any of the older generations who lived through this. If you say communism, they automatically look at that and they see red.
I know people personally who still feel that way.
Yes.
And it's like, oh God.
It's left over from that generation. But the sad thing is the communism, even if you look at communism like Soviet era communism, that's not communism.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is communism as it's supposed to exist really hasn't been a thing. You know.
But again, I mean, that's how they talk about like socialism, which also got branded as a dirty word even today.
Right.
There are a lot of people when they talk about how do people get to that, like socialism is not necessarily a bad thing. It's like, well, you have to present the policies themselves. And even though the policies are socialist, as long as you don't put socialist next to the policies, we're usually very pro the policies that are in.
There was a guy who was speaking for having the atomic bomb, and he was mentioning the whole reason of having this making the bomb system is to make sure that and I know he said other religious factions and communist factions and red factions, but he also mentioned atheism.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that he was speaking from a Christian standpoint.
Well, I mean, that was basically the standpoint that most of the government came off of at the time. And again, not necessarily, it's just like I say, there's a lot of parallels even, you could say, from that age to today. A lot of the government ownership of the news machines and the influence therefore people have, and the difficulty of even just finding out what is actually real. Because I mean, and it was even more difficult for these people. But we can look back and say, well, they should have known better. How? They're not nuclear scientists. What information did they have access to? With most of it being kept top secret. It's that thing is those people didn't have that information. They only had what was given to them, and that was this BS. So you look at those opinions and you think to yourself, this is what was crafted. These opinions were crafted by others. But that, again, this is why this film can make you kind of PO'd and mistrustful of humanity. It's a little bit harder now that you have the Pandora's box of the internet open.
Yeah.
You have much better chance at finding the truth. The problem is it's buried with a bunch of untruths.
Right.
So
there's a lot. Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword there. There's no doubt.
I mean, one of the cartoons that struck me as very poignant to today is where they were talking about, like, when you are constantly being pushed and pulled and under pressure, and they show like the machines kind of crushing the guy. Then you see a strong man telling you, I know the way. And it shows the finger, like, saying, hey, come follow me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is freaking creepy, because this is exactly how it is. They see the strong man, they're under stress, so they automatically look at that person as their savior.
Yeah.
But that, I guess, is the whole. We could keep going back and forth with this for a while. But any thoughts before we really? Production is not much to this other than just a lot of films that were put together. It was put together very well. It was edited well.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of propaganda vignettes, I would say, with mixed in with music that was made around the time. There were even a couple of maybe humoristic songs that were made about the atomic era. I was even amused by the H-bomb songs that they found.
I wouldn't mind having the soundtrack of this, just because.
Right.
I think really the soundtrack is the soundtrack in this one is more interesting than a lot of soundtracks we look at, because it's not really just a soundtrack. It's the fact that it is just all of these old songs that are disturbing in a lot of ways.
Right.
If anything, they are very interesting to look at from a time capsule point of view and how they apply today.
Yeah.
Right.
But from a production standpoint, it's basically all true things that people, certain people have said. Video of people cheering and going like, "Yeah, war is good," that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, and keep in mind, back in those days, that was the prevalent thought.
War is the American way.
I mean, my grandparents have told me about that. I mean, when you're looking at the Korean War now, and even the Vietnam War when it first started, it wasn't. But the difference between the Vietnam War and things like the Korean War is the propaganda machine had a harder time fighting through, because there was a lot more of the reality being brought.
Fighting back too, the fact that people were starting to realize that it was a war that basically was nonsense. There was no reason for us to be over there.
It was one of the first wars that was televised.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it. And then, of course, also, not just, I guess, the messenger, too. We have these little newsreel clips of Truman and Eisenhower.
No, Eisenhower really? And Ike, too,
Eisenhower is Ike.
Yeah, that is Ike. But, they had those little moments. But television was still a new thing. It was still a nascent thing. And I'm sure you guys have probably heard the claim that one of the reasons Kennedy beat Nixon was that televised debate. And Nixon did not play well on television. So it could be as well that the having such a not so photogenic president trying to deliver these ideas probably didn't help.
Well,
look at
Nixon
Clinton
also
versus
had the Watergate scandal too.
Yeah, well, that was later. But I'm saying in terms of Nixon was there for a good chunk of Vietnam, a good chunk of it, and he may have had a harder time selling that war than let's say, if Kennedy had lived and found himself in that position, he probably would have been able to sell that war better than Nixon could.
Yes.
You know?
All I remember about
LBJ had a hard
Nixon
time
is
doing
him
it
and
too.
that
Yeah.
vice president of his ringing that bell.
Yeah, LBJ had a hard time selling the war, but a lot of them did.
Yeah.
But it's a hard war to sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's I mean, when you look at optics, I mean, I kept thinking about Clinton versus Dole. Dole was probably one of the most uncharismatic politicians out there at the time, because rarely do I remember a candidate when they ran against each other, but I remember Bob Dole just because of how uncharismatic he was.
Weirdly enough, we had a repeat of that 4 years later with W versus Gore. Both Dole and Gore can be very they both could be entertaining speakers. They both had reputations for being good speakers. They were terrible candidates.
Well, yeah. Well, Gore and Bush were both terrible candidates, and that was what led to the debacle. And there was no good candidate to be had.
But Bush was charismatic. I will
Yes.
give him that. He was charismatic. That's
and a lot of things point to him actually not being that bad a person overall. He was just not a very intelligent person, or is, I should say.
Yeah, that's a whole thing, certainly. but yeah, that gives the idea. Like but this is a good example of like how propaganda can start to fall apart if you have certain things peeking through, like war footage.
Yes. Which is why a lot of this kind of you still see propaganda today, but it's a different form.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of it requires a lot of repetition, because if you repeat a lie enough, people start believing it. And that is how a lot of people believe a lot of stuff that's even blatantly untrue.
I mean,
today.
Look at all the campaign videos when Kamala Harris.
I don't understand why people try to do her first name when we always use last names for most presidential candidates. We never say, okay, we do Barack Obama, but we rarely do for most candidates. Why is it just Harris? I mean, nobody's like always trying to say Donald Trump. They usually just say Trump.
Yeah,
Harris is a much easier name.
If I start acting like all of the other people, then I'll be just as rude. So,
but yeah, to your point, campaign videos.
I mean, we might as well just give them a number and just be done with it. All right, 24601.
Campaign videos are propaganda. There's no
propaganda. I mean, that's the thing. They are propaganda. Most of them are lies to begin with, and it's been ruled that people can lie and claim it's the truth, and that is one of the more. I think that one thing that would be a great bonus to us would be to pass a law that requires all campaigners to tell the truth in their campaigns.
They do have to say, I approve this message, but that,
So, that would be a big start, would be get rid of those lies in politics.
But then again, if a president gets another fine while he's still president, there should be an impeachment involved.
Yeah.
There are a lot of times where there should have been an impeachment involved.
Well, yeah. But
anyway.
But yeah, I think overall, though, this film has an interesting. I feel like this film is still relevant today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I do think that yes, it is aggravating, and it is angering at times, and it is depressing at times. Mm-hmm. But I think that it is effective in what it's getting across, because that's what it's trying to. Those are the feelings it's trying to portray.
It's effective at professionally propaganding at people with the insertion of facts around the history of the A bomb and the H bomb and all that jazz. And yes, I do agree that this should be a film that should be shown in school. I just don't think that the current world is ready to do that kind of thing.
Well, it is definitely one that opened my eyes to things, and the fact that as I said, the fact that the teacher that showed it was at a party that would probably never show it today shows how different things were even back then. That
the 80s and 90s were definitely a different era.
But you could still be there, and you would want that out there.
Of course, it wasn't duck and cover that I learned. It was stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah. Oh,
During the DARE program.
The current one today is shelter from gun violence, which I did miss that, thank goodness. But
Dave's right. The stop, drop, and roll was a big one. And then, you mentioned DARE. Yeah, the say no to drugs. Yeah, that was
say no to drugs.
That was
which sadly,
only you can prevent forest fires.
You know what's funny about DARE?
That is one of the stupidest campaigns ever created.
More forest fires. It actually produced more forest fires at the end.
It produced worse forest fires.
Yeah.
The whole fire suppression. Fire suppression is one of the worst things we have done to this planet.
Well, they should have raked all the leaves up like they normally do. Forest.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's it's just a weird world. We do have those. I mean, DARE was actually considered one of the programs that was one of the least effective drug programs. You would think on the surface it looks like it would. But
the war on drugs was a abysmal failure. It was an abysmal failure. Yeah.
If anything, drugs just got worse.
Exactly. Yeah.
But with that being said, any final words on this particular documentary?
It's product of its time.
No.
What, the 80s?
1982 to be precise.
So,
the year that my sister was born. So
are we doing any sort of favorites on this, or?
Well, I mean, the favorites and stuff would also include Hardware Wars.
Yeah.
So I would say favorites from Hardware Wars. Favorite scene from Hardware Wars with Atomic Cafe. The thing that probably stuck out, the fact that you learned that stuck out the most to you. Because I think that probably would be the most appropriate for a documentary of this type. And then I guess as the end of it, what is your favorite spoof film? And then as far as documentaries are concerned, is there a documentary that you feel taught you a lot? And what is it? And if you're like, no documentaries taught me anything, well, I guess that would be the answer to that. So I'll start with you, Jacob.
Okay. Favorite scene or moment in Hardware Wars might have been Fluke's reaction to getting a lightsaber. Of how over the top it was.
Oh, wowee, whiz bang.
Gee willikers.
I can just imagine him acting like the pig that you see in the commercials going, wee!
And then favorites, I'll come back to that. So in Hardware Wars, in Atomic Cafe, I will mention again, the funniest moment was the scene with the guy slipping in the shower. But in terms of the thing that I learned there were a few, but again, I think learning that they intended to use Hiroshima and Nagasaki as a science project was very disturbing and probably one of the most notable things I picked up. Favorite, now I will say not necessarily a spoof, but in terms of a satirical movie, we can actually marry these two films together with Dr. Strangelove, and that is one of my all-time favorite films, and it is one that we will need to cover one day. But in terms of a spoof
slash parody,
I don't know what I would put as the number one, but I am very fond of Spaceballs. It is very much a favorite of mine.
Comes to mind anyway when you're watching.
It does come to mind, yes. So I guess I'll go with that.
Okay.
I guess. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk to you, Tammy.
No. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was talking about the documentary one. Sorry.
The Monty Python films do count as spoofs, I think.
Yes.
So Monty Python and the Holy Grail. We'll go with that one.
And the documentary?
And what was the thing about a documentary?
I guess a documentary that you learned a lot from.
One I learned a lot.
If you've ever watched a documentary that taught you anything.
I've seen a few. Geez. Like one that you just feel like you learned the most from, or
that you feel like you learned some really cool things from. I'm just throwing it out for a cool documentary, but the caveat is that you have to have learned something from it.
Yeah. Because I've seen several good documentaries that I learned stuff from. So I guess I'll pick one that was about something I knew nothing about going into. There was a movie that I think won the Oscar for documentary feature a few years ago. It was called Born into Brothels, Calcutta's Red Light Kids, I think was the name on it. That was a really good movie, and I learned a lot on that one. There's several I could think of. The Cove was one. Given that Michael Moore has cited this movie as a major influence on him, I'm tempted to go with Bowling for Columbine or Roger and Me or something like that. But there's a lot of good documentaries out there. But I guess I'll go into Born into Brothels just as something that was kind of new to me. Yeah.
All right. Okay, Tammy.
So you want to know what I thought was funny of the first one?
So I guess favorite scene from Hardware Wars.
I think when the toaster was actually shooting toast.
Right.
Oh, that's a valuable weapon.
Yes.
Something that you learned from the Atomic Cafe.
I guess I didn't realize that they were testing out by those islands. You know, I guess it's not pronounced bikini, but
it is a good show of why atomic testing is not a good thing, and why it kind of made me mad to know that Trump was trying to push us back into live atomic testing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that I thought when they do testing, it was more further away from people and away from everything.
Nope, they go out to random islands that have inhabited individuals and take a translator with them, and they tell them, hey, you're going to do something for the good of our country, and you're going to like it. And then
Well, and
they
also
evacuate them.
deserts.
I was thinking, even the desert one that they showed here, they actually showed like an entire town that was basically
Yeah.
bathed in radiation because
Yeah.
of.
And they were like, "Oh, it'll be fine after a little bit. It'll, you know." And then, of course, I guess Russia did most of their testing up in the Siberian
Yeah.
areas, which is still not empty. There's no place on the planet that's empty, you know. Yeah.
Well, I don't know the fallout from the nuclear bomb testing sites. No.
Well, no, I've seen recent documentaries. Bikini has recovered. It just has not recovered fully.
I'm
It's
talking about
gonna
the
be
fall,
a
the
long process.
recent
Oh, yeah.
fallout from them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's still there,
Yeah.
but it's just they didn't wipe the slate totally, but they did a lot of damage.
Yeah. They didn't. It wasn't for lack of trying.
Yeah.
So, then as far as favorite spoof or parody film,
I guess Spaceballs is basically one of my favorites. Um, a documentary that you learn from, I would probably say, I believe it's called Wolves at Our Door.
okay. I know you showed us that had us watch that one about the wolves among us or something like that. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, there's a couple of them. So the only one that comes to mind is that, the name of it. So, but either one of the wolf ones that I have, because I like wolves, I learned a lot watching them. So,
All right, Dave. Favorite scene from Hardware Wars?
Okay, I did like when the toast was shooting out, but I also liked when the flashlight became the lasers, the wowee, and the guy sitting on a tractor to show the tractor beam. That was
Yeah, that amused me.
sorry. But if I had to say anything that I learned, well, I think one of the things that I learned was the same thing as Tammy, that I didn't realize that they did testing on actually inhabited places and that forced people to evacuate. They were all happy about it. God damn! How the hell did we do that? But
Yeah.
We just lied to their faces.
if anything, then people must have been happy and high as a kite, because they believed whatever bullshit we told them through their translator. But that being said, I also didn't know that we were threatening atomic shit in Korea and even further.
Yeah.
That's something that I didn't know. Now, parts of it was disappointed. I mean, I get it. It's a product of its time. It's showing how we had red-blooded Americans, red-blooded. I mean, purely savage, We I used to have this book, and I want to find it again. It was called "Who Was the First?" And it was all different quotes from all different time periods, but the focal point of the book was basically trying to figure out who started it all first.
Who's on
and who was the first savage, So to me, that's the kind of concept that I kind of bring into looking at this documentary. who was the savage, you know? So, I mean, okay, yeah, Japan hit us first, but then then of course we hit them back. But unfortunately, we Americans, once we learn something, we gotta top it. We gotta top it the next time, you know. We gotta make sure we're big bad.
American exceptional.
Yeah, and then when we realize that, hey, I could add something to this, make this even cooler, you know, or that's the kind of thinking that we Americans go into in everything, not just warfare, but business too, like and product. You know, how can we make this product better? What kind of product will Americans like? You know. And then you got to worry about the side effects of the shit and the consequences, you know. But
yeah,
unfortunately, we don't think about the consequences. We're hyped on the making of it, and then the topping of it, and who's got to win, make this thing better. Who's got to be the bigger, badder man? So. To me, that's how we always are, and that's how every country is. Who's got to be the strongest? Who's got to be the one to keep the wall in place? Right now, it's us, but unfortunately, we are not innocent in the whole thing, and that's why we got films like this.
Well, it's always good to know the truth behind all things. I think that you can truly. There was a song by the Descendants called "America," which was a very interesting one, and had one of the lines was like, "You got to know the truth before you say that you've got pride. You got to know the good and the bad, essentially," which is there. I mean,
well,
just
I was reminded of "We Didn't Start the Fire" with Billy Joel when it came to the H-bombs, H-bomb, Pam, you know, and it even mentions, you know, other things that were mentioned in here. So I almost wonder if Billy Joel actually saw this.
It's a favorite parody or spoof film.
Oh God. I'd have to say my favorite my favorite parody. What is it? The History of the World Part 1.
Good one.
Oh, okay.
Or Young Frankenstein.
That would be high on my list too.
Well, and I guess what is a
Young
documentary
Frankenstein would
that
be
you
high on
learned?
my list too. I guess I just didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
It's a spoof of the classic Frankenstein story.
Yeah. And a documentary that you learned something from.
Oh God. What was it? It was In Search of Darkness.
Well, hey, you learned a lot about films from that one.
I still need to see those.
In Search of Darkness, I learned a lot about some of them. In fact, that series is still going on. So,
yep, they're getting the funding for the '70s version now.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong. They're up to. Is that the one they've done 4 films already?
Yeah, they did 3 for the '80s,
Yeah,
2 for the '90s, and I think they're
2
just
for
covering
Alien.
all the '70s in one.
And they also did a documentary for Aliens, and then The Thing,
I think
And
they did
these-
one Terminator,
And
but
these are mostly like 4-hour movies, right?
yeah, they had a
and then they did
video
a sci-fi
games.
one.
So one would hope you would learn a lot.
Yep,
They did a sci-fi one, which that one wasn't bad.
they did the survival horror genre, Terabytes. They're big on their documentaries.
Yeah.
Did they do first-person shooter?
Yeah, actually, yes, I think they did do first-person shooter.
Okay.
Well, let's see here. As far as favorite part from that, I don't know why, but I always think when they're reacting to this whole thing, and Ham Salad goes, "Take it easy, kid. It's only a movie."
Yeah.
Oh, favorite song? I'm no communist.
So let's see. The thing I learned, actually, what's funny is that when I first saw this film, I didn't know any of this stuff because I was just barely learning about atomic history. So most of it was new. The thing that stuck out the most for me when I first saw the film was the fact that we had actually told our military men that radiation is hardly worth it.
Yeah.
And then we were going to train them to go in to a place right after the bomb went off to finish off any survivors.
Yeah.
That struck me the most when I first watched that film. The thing that hit me this time that I didn't catch was that Truman speech about, oh well, we'll just keep bombing city after city in Japan until they surrender. It's like, oh God.
Well, that was the kind of thinking that went on that when they hit Pearl Harbor, that hit a lot of people deep.
Yeah, and again,
as Michael Bay showed us, they had the temerity to bomb an American love triangle.
I mean, they had the audacity to misplace the declaration of war for us before they even came over to Pearl Harbor. So,
as I said, I don't really consider the Japanese good guys in the World War II, but I also looked at the atomic bomb as,
Right.
and the fact that we were thinking about doing more than the two we already put in there was just kind of because these weren't military targets necessarily.
hell yeah! Now that we have them, we're going to send them on Japan.
But that was one of the things that struck me this time. As far as favorite spoof, well, there's a lot of them. Galaxy Quest is one that I enjoy.
That's a good one.
And as far as a documentary that taught me things, there are a lot of those out there. I really liked some of the nature ones, like even though it's more of a documentary series, I think the Planet Earth ones stick with me a lot because they taught me a lot about nature and also about conservation. And of course, one thing that actually, oddly enough, a Michael Moore documentary that I think most people left and right can get behind is Roger and Me.
Right.
I mean, back when Roger and Me came out, the right was more about corporations moving the jobs to Mexico is a good thing because the corporations profit from the cheaper labor. But nowadays, that's very frowned upon by the right. So that's kind of so I think that Roger and Me could actually hold up to both at that time. So that's actually I think that one taught me a lot about human greed and some of the mistakes we made with those trade agreements.
To be honest, I haven't seen one single Michael Moore documentary.
We should put up Roger and Me as one of those in the future because I do think that that's the one that would probably resonate the best. Because I think that that's one that most Americans at this point would look at and say, I mean, the only way I could see people being bad on it now is just that they look at Michael Moore and say, I hate Michael Moore, so therefore I hate whatever he says, which that's not productive.
I can't say I hate him until I actually at least see what he did. And he,
But that's the one that I would say out of the most. I'd say that one's probably the one that would be widest, because Bowling for Columbine is a great film. It's probably one of his best.
I need an excuse to watch my copy.
But it's one that I can definitely see still. Political ideologies. It would definitely go.
It's the one where he started to give into I will admit he tends to indulge a bit of self-aggrandizement in his films, and some more than others. And that was the movie, I think, where he first started to let that. You don't really see that in Roger and Me.
No, you don't. And actually, the big one, you didn't really see it as much either. The big one, he tried to lean more into the comedic take. I think we've only the only film that we've covered by Michael Moore here is the one comedy movie that he did.
Oh yeah, we did do that. What, Canadian Bacon?
Canadian Bacon.
Oh, he directed that one?
Yeah, he directed that one. It's the one non-documentary he did, and I actually liked it because it was silly, but it was a silly comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's certain ones. Like I said, the big one I think is actually still got some pretty decent appeal. But then you start getting into Fahrenheit 9/11. You're not going to like if you're a certain side. Most of the ones past really Bowling for Columbine, if you're not on a certain side, and especially the more recent ones like Sicko or Capitalism Love Story. Capitalism Love Story, especially.
Oh yeah, definitely not that one. But but
that one was there. But there's certain things like the Awful Truth series that he did. There were certain things that I think most people could get behind, which was they took a candidate that was always running unopposed, and they ran a ficus against the candidate, and the ficus was actually starting to get more votes, so they had to shut it down. To me, that's actually got some universal appeal. There's a couple of those things. I need to rewatch that series. I enjoyed it at the time, but again, and some things, I think that one subject that would be a good one for later on is like something that you like, but you haven't watched in a long time. So reevaluation, I guess you could say, because there's a lot of films that I know that a lot of us really like, but we haven't seen the film for like 20 years. And it may be that watching it now may give us a different thought and opinion than we have now.
Well, yeah, that's going to be true. Quite a few films, I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that my opinion on, say, American, what was that? Not American. What was that thing? The one with Kevin Spacey.
American Beauty?
American Beauty. I don't think that opinion is going to change any. Probably be worse, actually. Than
my opinion probably will change on that one, but I'll give it I'm still, because my copy is watched and I have so many other things on the plate, it's like it's not a priority, but I feel like eventually I'll get it on Blu-ray and then I'll watch it again and then I'll be like, yeah, this did not age well.
Well, this is the end of our birthday months. So Dave, I hand it back to you.
Alrighty. Well, hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, you have enjoyed our discussion on either one of these films. I'm flabbergasted that we did a double feature. We haven't done a double feature in a long time. Well, I guess you could
in
say.
a manner of speaking.
Yeah.
In all fairness, the first one was 13 minutes.
Okay, so
even the second one, Atomic Cafe, was what, an hour and 40? Like it wasn't long.
No, it wasn't long.
No, it wasn't long at all. But it was it certainly wasn't a drag per se. But then again, when it comes to political propaganda, that is snagged together with bits and pieces carpet bagging songs. um, it was definitely interesting, but hopefully you ladies and gentlemen have enjoyed our discussions of both of these films. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll hope to have another exciting film month for you coming up.
It's a good time to introduce it, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Do we even have the film lineup?
Yes, we do.
Oh,
Yep. July is, I can't believe you haven't watched that. Everybody has gotten to those things. I mean, we are all film buffs here. We all, at some level or another, we've watched a lot of films. But we've always had that one person come up and was like, I can't believe you haven't watched that. You watch all these things and you haven't seen that. And that's what this month is about. Like a film that most everybody has seen. But for some reason, you, the movie buff, have not seen it. And this is a month that would help, is to help remedy that, is to take some of those and knock them out for you. So we end the month with Dave's pick, Jerry Maguire, which I can kind of see definitely in that. And Dave can explain to us also why most people have seen it, but there is definitely good cause in that. Tammy with A Troll in Central Park. I'm definitely interested in hearing from her about the popularity, because I haven't seen A Troll in Central Park. Then Jake is working with me on this double feature thing that we had talked about for years, which is Malcolm X, which I'll admit, from anybody who's an artistic film buff, that would be a hard one to say, why haven't you seen that? And for me, American History X, which we're going to be doing next week. Another delightful film from what people have told me.
Yeah, we'll be starting with a 1-2 punch of pretty hardcore movies, but Jerry Maguire is a pretty upbeat film. It'd be a good way to end the month.
And Troll Central Park's a Bakshi cartoon, so hey.
Oh, okay.
So it's there. So that's what we've got.
And I do believe it's got a Vincent Price voice in it somewhere.
Okay. So, well, I guess that's it.
Yep. That's pretty much it. So like, share, and subscribe. Let us know what you thought of the film, and if you haven't seen either one of these films, they're on YouTube right now. Yeah. I don't know for how long, but they are definitely both on YouTube. One's 13 minutes, and the other, like,
they've been on YouTube for a long time.
Okay. So I guess they're staying on YouTube unless YouTube decides to forfeit.
Yeah. Hardware Wars is also on Tubi. Actually, I watched it on both. I watched it on YouTube and then on Tubi.
Matter of fact, the Hardware Wars gained a lot of new viewers because of YouTube.
All right.
And Atomic Cafe, I'm sure, like anybody, is a documentary person, wants that out to as many people as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get a chance to see either one of these films, go straight to our commentary and comment, and I'm sure one of us will reply. So in any case, we'll see you next week here on Inside Movies Galore. Everyone say good night.
Night.
Bye.